Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gatorlight, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gatorlight hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
It is a privilege to be joined by the general manager of Penn State football, Derek Hoodjer. Derek, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate the opportunity to be on.
So, you've been with Matt Campbell a long time. How did the general manager's job then become your job and the responsibilities of it? Because it's a position that did not exist 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think early on, in 2016, Matt's first year at Iowa State, he offered me the opportunity to work in the recruiting department at that time, as he was kind of building out a staff of what that could look like. And really that was right, of finding players, evaluating them, and then helping your staff to recruit them. And then eventually had the opportunity to kind of lead that department as we built it out. And really that the core nucleus of the job never changed, as far as trying to help him in every way, shape, and form I could support kind of building a roster year over year. But obviously what did change along the way is what college football looked like. And, first it was the one-time transfer, and then NIL became kind of a thing, and then became unlimited transfers, and then revenue share. And so I think as college football changed and the landscape around us changed, the role of people that have had jobs on this side of the industry, I think the day-to-day work changed, and then obviously the titles started to change, and now everybody, I think for the most part across college football, has a general manager in some capacity. And so it really just, I think we kind of adapted as college football adapted, and tried to, keep the focus on help Coach Campbell build a roster that he feels comfortable with, and then what that looks like and the work that goes into that certainly changed along the way.
So what did it take for you, with your recruiting eye, whether it's the portal or a high school player, to then really get a feel for how Matt sees it, and then combine the two of what you see and what he sees?
Yeah, I think it starts with what do you want the football team to look like, and how do you want to play the game, which for us has always been, we're trying to find guys with growth potential. We want to be a big, strong, physical football team. And then we really believe in identifying players that may have one or two elite traits, and really believe in the power of development. Can we find, maybe it's Darian Porter's the first guy that came to mind. He was a 6'4", 175-pound track athlete. That was a really unique football player. He had a lot of ability and was not developed great. He played wide receiver, didn't have elite ball skills. He played defense and was willing to tackle, but didn't really understand how to backpedal or transition. And then, 5 years later, he goes off and he's a mid-round draft pick for the Raiders. And so stories like that, like, we've always wanted to have length, we wanted to have growth potential, and we've wanted to have physicality. And the reason we're looking for those things is that's how we want to play the game as well. But moreover than that, I think identifying the athletic traits that's the easiest part. I think what I appreciate about Coach Campbell more than anything is who the player is and what is their football character, what's their character outside of football, how do they treat people, do they understand what it means to be a part of a team, do they have leadership traits, are they motivated and inspired on their own to become the best version of whatever it is they're doing and continue to chase improvement. Like, getting the human right is so important to Coach Campbell, which has been really a joy to have an opportunity to be a part of a program like that. And so he does a really good job of really drilling down what each player on our team is going to be asked to do and make sure we're recruiting to that profile. And obviously that changes a little bit year over year, and that's a group effort to align with who's the coordinator, what are we going to run, what does it take to play that defense or to run that offense effectively, and recruit to that, because he always says we're not just collecting talent. We are trying to build a team and we're trying to run a program. And so having that as the clear North Star has been really impactful.
And it takes a lot of work to do that part. So how important is it, Derek, that in a recruiting process, and say the athlete decides to go someplace else, that you make sure it's always on great terms, because down the road that could potentially be a portal person and you've got a feel for the culture part of it?
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero powders have been scientifically designed to help improve hydration balance in the body. With a clinically proven electrolyte blend and no artificial colors or flavors. Great tasting hydration no matter where you're going. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade, hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
I think that's so critical. I think you always want to put your best foot forward the entire journey through, and I don't think you ever want to burn a bridge. And we've been really cognizant to do that, and I think that happens other places. And even, we had a young man that ended up going to Princeton out of high school. He was from Minneapolis. We recruited him. Ultimately, he chose he wanted to go the Ivy League route. He goes to Princeton for 4 years, transfers back to Iowa State, and I think really we had a head start on the process because we had built a good relationship with him, and even though coming out of high school it wasn't going to be a good fit, we had maintained a healthy relationship through that process. He goes to Princeton, has a great career, and then has to use his fifth year to transfer, and we were one of the only schools that he had any sort of prior relationship with. Fast forward, he becomes a draft pick and looks like he'll be a starting tackle for the Indianapolis Colts this year. And so you never know what the future holds. And so, number one, I think it's in your best interest competitively to maintain relationships and to not burn bridges. And then number two, which I think people forget sometimes, is like, it's not worth it to burn a bridge either. And that's a good lesson for life too. Like, everybody's got decisions to make. There's a lot of football players out there. Somehow, some way, you're always going to find a way to fill your roster, and your job is to make sure you fill it with guys that are good enough to win at the highest level. But burning a bridge that's bad advice in life in general, and so sometimes it's as simple as, hey, let's do the right thing and make sure we wish this kid the best of luck, and never know what can happen. But either way, hopefully we're all in this and hoping young men find the place that they want to find, and if they feel good that another school is better for them, then you have to wish them the best of luck.
You talked about getting the right fits in terms of like the athlete profile coming in. So I want to get to the wide receiver part of it. Some people will take wide receivers and they'll just take wide receivers and then they'll fit parts. How important is it for Matt Campbell and then, of course, you, that you look at a profile and go, you know what, that guy's an X. Okay, profile-wise, that guy is a slot. That guy, Do you look at it that way, for example, at the wide receiver spot, looking at certain profiles that fit how you want to play him positionally?
We do, and there's a very clear picture in our offense what we believe an X has to do, what we believe a Z has to do, and what we call the F, but is the slot and what that guy has to do. And we have strong opinions on how many numbers you should have at each of those positions to fill out the entirety of the wide receiver room. We've got strong opinions on, expected, development of those players and where are they at within their football development journey and how fast or slow will they be able to make an impact on the field. And so, I think you do have to have a really good picture of how are we going to actually use this player, because you can collect 8 or 9 really good wide receivers, but if they all have the same exact skill set, then the puzzle's not going to come together how you want it to come together. And next thing you know, 3 of them are going to play and 5 of them are going to be angry because they're not playing. And then you're going to get yourself in a really unsustainable kind of cycle where guys come in and transfer out because there wasn't a clear picture of what their journey was going to look like. And I think both internally, we have to have a strong conviction on if we bring this player into the program, what do we expect his pathway forward to look like, and we have to make sure everyone's in alignment with that.
Everybody loves lists. Okay, who are the top 5 running backs all time in the NFL? Who are the top 10 defensemen in the history of the NHL? Okay, well, lists also includes the star system in recruiting. He's a 5-star. He's the 12th rated tight end. He's the 20th rated tight end. He's a 3-star. In your evaluation, how important is it that you just look at it from your eyes, Matt's eyes, the position coach's eyes, and just do your own evaluation, and just because you know that that's what fits Penn State, regardless of what an outside entity says on a star?
It's critical, and what I would tell you is we certainly evaluate all of the players on our own internally, both from our scouting staff, our coaching staff, and obviously Coach Campbell. And the decisions we make are based off of our internal evaluations of what do we think this player is, what do we think this player can become, how do we think he fits into our program immediately, what do we think the 2 or 3 year runway might look like for him. And that is full stop how we're making our decisions. Now, with that being said, there is a star system, and people, that's just kind of the modern day reality of college football, is that's how people cover recruiting. And I'll be honest with you, I have a lot of respect for the people that place those ratings, and they do that. That's not an easy job, and they get it right more often than they get it wrong. But even if you talk to them, they say, man, this 3-star, we think he's might be a 4-star in a week, or I wanted him to be a 4-star, but the people I work with, my colleagues, wanted him to be a 3-star. Like, it's not a foolproof system, and there are certain guys, and they're not hard to find. There's been plenty of 5-stars that, for one reason or another, they did not have good college careers. But there's also a lot of 5-stars that became first-round picks too. Yep. And so, I think making your own internal evaluations, and if we identify a guy and we feel really strongly about who they are, if they're a 5-star, we're going to try like heck to go get them. And if they're a 3-star, but we think they fit us, then we're going to try like heck to go get them too, and vice versa. If there's a guy that we don't think fits us for one reason or another, we're never going to recruit that player just because there may be some positive publicity or it looks good on the recruiting rankings. Like, ultimately that player is going to come into your program and he's going to impact winning and losing, and you better have conviction in the decisions you make, and they better be made on your own evaluations, not on somebody else's.
And again, I'm like you, great respect for the people that put all that together. That's a lot of players, and it's a lot of hard work, and I give them credit for the work they do. I've always used this example, 2005 to 2008, Derek Williams, National Player of the Year, 5-star. Deion Butler happened to be a walk-on corner, and Jordan Norwood was a gray shirt, which meant he came in the winter after the season was over with. All 3 made the NFL. So everybody develops, to me, at their own rate. It's just a question of whether you can see the potential for that kind of growth and development. Is that fair?
It's totally fair. And even, when we got here to State College in December and start to look at the roster, and obviously the first guy you look at is Venga, and obviously he goes on to be a first-round draft pick and is a tremendous football player and a tremendous human. And then you go back to his history, and he was a 3-star guy.
Yep.
And you can find those stories all over the place. And so I think if you're just chasing, if your model is built on trying to identify a class based on those things, it's not going to lead you down a good path. But rather, I think sometimes it can certainly illustrate, man, do we have a good class or not a good class? And everyone uses it to identify and label what it is. But we certainly believe in evaluating recruiting classes 3, 4, 5 years down the line and what ultimately came of them. And not every player in every class is going to turn into a superstar player, but we want to make sure that we're bringing in annually guys that can impact winning in some form or fashion. Maybe it's special teams, maybe they're a quality backup, or maybe they turn into an all-conference, all-American caliber player. There's a lot of ways to impact football, but we want to make sure we have a locker room full of guys that can do it.
All right, the portal part, it won't open until the beginning of January. So what is the approach leading into it? Because you need to put together evaluations and also where you are positionally at the time when the portal opens. So what is that process between now and that first day, second day of January when it opens?
Yeah, I think the process is right now really through the summer having a foundation of kind of information on everybody across college football and kind of an initial evaluation. And then you really dive into it and do it again throughout the football season as you get new film. And I think you want to have a really good understanding of what players are impacting winning in a positive way, who is out there that you should be comparing yourself to, and who's built teams the right way. And then obviously having an evaluation of some kind on every player gives you a starting point, right? Because yes, when they go in the portal, you want to know who they are 100%. But the reality is you'll start to get all of these agents sending you lists, sending you phone or calling you, texting you names, and it can become really overwhelming really fast if you're just sitting at your computer and you're like, okay, this guy just sent me 56 names. Let me go through all of these players and see who they are, versus if I have a database and I can just go, okay, here's the guy, yep, we were not interested, or yep, here's a guy, he plays a position that we feel like we're going to need in the portal and we think he's a good player. Maybe that's someone that, you need to make sure is on the kind of target ready list so that when the portal comes open, you're ready to rock and roll.
What does the money jigsaw puzzle look like to get it to fit together so you're about the numbers you need to be at, but at the same time you're making sure people are being taken care of?
Yeah, I think that's the most critical thing, and I think you have to establish a framework where you are treating every player in the program fairly relative to the market, relative to their role on your football team, and relative to how you want to construct a football team. And so it's an ever-moving target, obviously, and those decisions get made really quickly. And I think you have to have a foundation of where do we want to spend the money and how do we want to invest our resources, both whether that's positionally, how many guys do you want at each spot, how much of your money do you want to allocate to each position group, how much of your money do you want to allocate to your first, second, third, fourth team. And everybody probably does it a little bit differently, and I would certainly not tell you, like, there's probably not one right way to do it.
Right.
But I do think you have to go into it and have some consistency, so you can at least stand firm and say, hey, this is our number, here's how we got to it, and this is why we believe it's fair. And that's at least a good way to kind of open this conversation and have transparent dialogue.
Derek, I mean, Matt puts together a family atmosphere within the building, and you've lived it. You have a beautiful family yourself. I was talking with Brett Veach, who's the Kansas City Chiefs general manager, and he's from Mount Carmel here in the area. And I said, Brett, is there any time during the year where you can sit back and just breathe and take in just life? And he said, for him, based on the NFL schedule, it says June. Is there any time for you where you can do that?
Yeah, we're really fortunate, kind of the same thing in our world. The first 3 weeks of June are pretty heavy with recruiting, with official visits, with your high school summer camps, some unofficial visits with underclassmen. And so those first 3 weeks are pretty heavy. And then there's a dead period in the summer, kind of that last week of June through July. And Coach is really good about giving us time to get away. And obviously your phone's always on and things are happening during that time, but it's at least a really good block that you can spend a lot of time with your family. You know, a lot of people take vacation. I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and 8-month-old. So like airplanes are not relaxing at this stage. So we had a great summer right here. We did go out to the Jersey Shore for a brief couple of days, but we had a great summer just kind of settling in and starting to explore State College and the surrounding area. But more than that, too, I think what makes Coach Campbell great is, like you said, you've seen my family, and he has an unbelievable environment and working environment that's established here. And our families are welcome at practice. They're welcome in the building. They can come to work with you if they need to. We're encouraged to go be with them, whether it's kindergarten back to school night tonight, or whether it's a dance recital, or whether it's a middle school football practice. That's, of all the things you appreciate about Coach Campbell, I think that's number one is he would tell you he doesn't want to be defined and identified as just a football coach, and he wants to make sure everyone on our staff can prioritize being husbands and fathers as well. And so he's been unbelievable, and then this community and this region has been an awesome place to kind of settle in it. Our family's really enjoying it.
One last question. Derek, what is it about this job when you wake up and you say, you know, I can't wait to get to the building today because what is it about this job that you find rewarding?
The most rewarding thing, and I think what motivates me more than anything every day, is, you know, I grew up a football fan, right? Like, I knew what Penn State was. I watched college football every Saturday my entire life. But until you really get here and start to meet the lettermen and start to understand what Penn State has meant to so many people for so many generations, like when you start to hear their stories and start to see what this program helped them accomplish both while they were here and in their careers beyond, whether that was in football or finance or medical or whatever it may be, and then you listen to them and how humble and how much they just appreciate the opportunity to be a part of Penn State, how much they care and what their experience looked like and felt like and what they want it to look like and feel like for our guys and into the future. And then on the personal basis, when you couple that with having spent 10 years with Coach Campbell, and you can really see very quickly that what those who have been at Penn State, who have come before us, what those people care about and what they want it to look and feel like is aligned perfectly with what Coach Campbell wants it to look and feel like. And so I think it's a real honor and a tremendous opportunity to just help him in whatever way, shape, and form I can to bring the program that he believes in, to give him every opportunity to achieve what he knows he can and to do it at a place where it's aligned so perfectly. That's what I would say more than anything, is just having an opportunity to learn and really understand the values of what Penn State football and Penn State as a whole have been, and to know that it aligns so well with Coach Campbell is, it's a real honor, and that's what I would say motivates me more than anything.
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero powders have been scientifically designed to help improve hydration balance in the body. With a clinically proven electrolyte blend and no artificial colors or flavors. Great tasting hydration no matter where you're going. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade, hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach, a trip to the state fair, and a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. There are also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in-minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Well, as you know, I can't say enough great things about you. So it's great to have you on the show. Thanks for the time, as always, Derek. And thanks for always pulling me aside and keeping me straight on things all the time, too. I appreciate it.
Heck yeah, I appreciate it. And we'll see you Saturday.
Sounds great. Thanks, Derek.
Yep, take care.
Derek Hoodjer, he is the general manager of Penn State football, one of the architects of what you're seeing and the future of Penn State football as well.